How do you ask someone, what's the weather like in Spanish? Today, we're diving into all the essential weather phrases you need to know to talk about sunny days, rainy afternoons, and everything in between in español. Welcome to Spanglish Friends, the podcast for true beginner Spanish learners.
Hola amigos, I'm Val, your co-host and experienced Spanish teacher from Venezuela.
And I'm Em, your Australian co-host who's been learning Spanish for 10 years.
Our goal is simple, to get you confident listening and speaking in beginner Spanish with content you'll actually use in real-life conversations.
Join the Spanish Friends community by subscribing wherever you listen to podcasts and following us on social media at Spanglish_Friends. Let's get started.
Comencemos.
Buenas, buenas. Buenos días.
Hello, Spanglish friends. Welcome back. Or if this is your first time tuning into our podcast, bienvenidos. Welcome to the Spanglish community.
Bienvenidos. Welcome. Today in our episodio 23, our episode 23, we're diving into a super fun and very practical topic, which is the weather, el clima. Talking about the weather is such a natural part of everyday conversation. And after this episode, you'll be able to talk about what it's like outside in español.
Yes, whether you're trying to describe a beautiful sunny day or you just want to complain about how cold it is, me at the moment in Australian winter, this episode has you covered. We're going to be answering 3 big questions for beginners learning to talk about the weather in español. Pregunta número 1. How do you ask, what's the weather like in Spanish? Pregunta número 2. What are the most important weather describing words you need to know as a beginner? We'll teach you phrases like it's sunny, it's raining, it's snowing, it's windy, and more. And pregunta número 3, how can you ask someone the temperature outside and respond in basic Spanish? For example, how do you say things like it's 20 degrees outside in beginner-friendly Spanish?
Whoop, whoop. So, by the end of today's episode, amigos, you'll be able to confidently describe what the weather is like and even talk about temperatures like a true Spanglish pro. As always, we are going to start with a conversación pequeña to bring all this new weather vocabulary to life.
Yes, and this mini conversation is your chance to hear today's target phrases used in a short, natural conversation. The conversation today is Val and I talking about what the weather's like in our respective cities. This first time through, just listen to the conversation. See how many words and what vocab you already know you can catch and you can understand.
Then we'll break it all down together and play it again at the end so you can hear just how much you've learned.
Love it. Are you ready, Profe Val?
Lista. Sí, vamos. Comencemos. Hola, Em. ¿Qué tiempo hace hoy en tu ciudad?
Hola, Val. Hoy hace mucho sol y un poco de viento. ¿Y en tu ciudad?
Aquí está nublado y creo que va a llover más tarde.
Uy, ¿y qué temperatura hace?
Hace 15 grados. Hace mucho frío hoy. Can you believe it, Spanglish friends? In just a few minutes, you understand that whole conversation. Let's start the clock and dive into the theory you need to know.
Let's do it. And answering our pregunta número 1, how do you ask someone, what's the weather like in Spanish?
And here, the most common question, Spanglish friends, is ¿Qué tiempo hace? ¿Qué tiempo hace? What's the weather like? You could say ¿Qué tiempo hace hoy? To be more specific. Today means hoy. So, what's the weather like today? ¿Qué tiempo hace hoy?
Okay, that's the key phrase we need to commit to memory, Spanglish friends. What's the weather like? It's funny because the word tiempo is kind of a falso amigo in Spanish, a false friend. It sounds like the word time in English, but you need to learn, Spanglish friends, that it means weather in Spanish, tiempo. So, ¿qué tiempo hace? Means, what's the weather like?
Into our pregunta número dos. What are the most important weather describing words you need to know, Spanglish friends, to be able to reply to that question we previously taught you? What's the weather like?
Okay, so in Spanish, friends, to talk about the weather, we need to use either the verbs hacer or estar.
To say it's sunny in Spanish, you say hace sol. Literally, it means it makes sun, but that's how we say it. It's sunny in Spanish using the verb hacer. We say hace sol. And if it's windy, we say hace viento. Just like hace sol, we use hacer for some type of weather, like sun, wind, and cold. And if it's cold, you can again use hacer to describe it. You can say hace frío. And if it's hot, again, you can use hacer and say hace calor.
Nice, Profe Val. So here's a quick list of weather words to write down that have hacer, amigos. Hace sol, it's sunny. Hace viento, it's windy. Hace frío, it means it's cold. Hace calor means it's hot.
On the other hand, to say it's cloudy, we can say está nublado. That's using the verb estar, which we talked about before. It means to be, and we use it when we are describing temporary conditions. Another super common example can be it's raining. We would translate it, está lloviendo. Again, we are using here the verb estar. Está lloviendo. It's like it's raining right now. Another one can be it's snowing. We can also use the verb estar and say está nevando. The same idea. We are using estar. Like right now it's snowing, está nevando.
That's right. So in summary, friends, the weather describing words that we use with estar, those common expressions are está nublado, nublado, cloudy, it's cloudy. Está lloviendo, lloviendo, which means it's raining. Or está nevando, it's snowing.
Now, last question. Pregunta número tres. How do you ask someone the temperature outside and respond? So, to ask the temperature, the most common question is ¿Qué temperatura hace? What temperature is it?
¿Qué temperatura hace? There's also another way someone might ask you what the temperature is. They could ask you, ¿A cuántos grados estamos? This sentence literally translated is, at how many degrees are we? So cuántos means how many, grados means degrees, and estamos comes from the verb estar, which means are we at? So it's another way of asking what temperature is it. So you've got ¿Qué temperatura hace? Or ¿A cuántos grados estamos? Both mean the same thing. What temperature is it?
And to respond, we can say hace and then the number. For example, if it's 20 degrees outside, we can say hace 20 grados. We use the verb hacer plus the temperature, and we say in the end grados, the degrees. Hace 20 grados.
Yes. Or you could alternatively reply with estamos a and then say the temperature, like we are at this amount of degrees. So you could say estamos a 10 grados, like we are at 10 degrees. That's another way native speakers might see it when responding to ¿Cuántos grados estamos?
Genial. Entonces, if it's cold, you can also say with hacer, and you can say hace frío. And if it's hot, on the other hand, you can say hace calor. These are great alternatives to numbers when you just want to describe the general feeling, but not the specific number.
Yes. And you can always add a mucho as well, like hace mucho calor or hace mucho frío to describe it's very cold or it's very hot.
To emphasize, yes.
Emphasize. We always love to emphasize in Spanish, so don't forget your muchos. Amazing Spanglish friends, you now have all the ammunition to listen again to our conversación pequeña. Let's go back and replay it now that you know all of these weather questions and phrases. This time around, listen closely for each weather expression that we're saying. See how many you can understand. See what you can catch this time around. Ready, Profe Val?
Sí, amiga, estamos listas. Comencemos. Hola, Em. ¿Qué tiempo hace hoy en tu ciudad?
Hola, Val. Hoy hace mucho sol y un poco de viento. ¿Y en tu ciudad?
Aquí está nublado y creo que va a llover más tarde.
Uy, ¿y qué temperatura hace?
Hace 15 grados. Hace mucho frío hoy. Amigos, tell us, how do you go this time around? Do you start to pick up some of the new expressions about el clima, about the weather we taught you?
Let's break it all down. The first thing that Val said was, Hola, ¿qué tiempo hace hoy en tu ciudad? She said, hello, ¿qué tiempo hace? Which we learnt today means, what's the weather like? Hoy, which is today. And she added a little extra phrase, en tu ciudad. She asked me, what's the weather like in my city?
Exactamente. Then Anne replied, Hola Val, hoy hace mucho sol y un poco de viento. Breaking the sentence down, she said, hoy, today, it's very sunny. Hace mucho sol. Y, and un poco de viento, like a little bit of wind.
Then Val said to me, aquí está nublado y creo que va a llover más tarde. This means, Spanglish Friends, and this is a new concept we're introducing here for the first time. Aquí está nublado. We know está nublado means it's cloudy. Está nublado. And then we added creo que. Creo que means I think, right? And then we used a sentence structure that we are previewing here. We're going to be using in upcoming episodes to talk about future predictions and future things happening. Va a llover means I think it's going to rain más tarde, later on in the day.
That was a great sentence. And then Anne asked me, ¿Qué temperatura hace? We taught you. That's the question to say. What temperature is it?
And Val replied, using the correct sentence structure, hace, and then the amount of grados. So she said, hace 15 grados. Hace mucho frío hoy. She said, it's 15 degrees today. Hace mucho frío hoy. She used that extra describing word to say, it's very cold today. Hace mucho frío hoy.
Which is really sad. I miss summer with 30 degrees.
We miss summer, so bring back the summer.
El verano. Muy bien, amigos. Now you just understood a whole weather conversation, conversación del clima in Spanish.
And to wrap it up, here are your 3 big takeaways from today's episode.
Exactamente. Número 1. To ask about weather, what's the weather like today? Use the question, ¿Qué tiempo hace hoy? ¿Qué tiempo hace hoy? Número 2. Common weather phrases to say what the weather is like include hace sol, it's sunny. Hace frío, it's cold. Hace viento, it's windy. Está lloviendo, it's raining. And está nublado, it's cloudy. Listen for hace and está at the beginning. That tells you what kind of phrase it is. And last one, última. Número 3. To ask and respond about the temperature, use ¿Qué temperatura hace? To ask about. And to respond, you can use the structure hace plus the number of degrees that you are right now and grados. For example, hace 20 grados is 20 degrees.
And we post a summary of every episode on our Instagram page. So you can check out today's summary about the weather, study it, save it, so you have all these phrases down packed. On to our reto of the day, our challenge of the day. Spanglish friends, head to the comments and tell us, what's the temperature like or what's the weather like where you are today? ¿Qué tiempo hace hoy? Tell us in the comments like hace sol or hace 20 grados.
We can't wait to see your answer, friends. And a spoiler alert, next week we are continuing with a fun theme. We'll teach you how to order a thing in Spanish using un, una, uno, and unos. Perfect for shopping, ordering food, and more. So you can get prepared to order your first meal in a Spanish-speaking country.
Una cerveza, por favor. I can't wait. It's a super useful topic and a great next step to add to our tool belt as beginner Spanish learners. Until next time, Spanglish friends, thanks for joining us.
Que tengan una maravillosa semana. Have a wonderful week, friends. Ciao, ciao.
Thank you for listening to Spanglish Friends. We are both so proud of the time you're investing to level up your Spanish listening and speaking skills.
If you've enjoyed today's episode, follow us and give the show a rating wherever you listen to podcasts. Or even better, tell a friend about the show. It's how we can help even more people on their Spanish learning journeys and continue to grow our awesome, supportive community.
Don't forget to check out our socials, including Instagram and TikTok at Spanglish_Friends for even more beginner Spanish fun.
Congratulations on taking another step today towards your Spanish learning goals. Ciao, Spanglish amigos. Until next time.
Hasta la próxima, amigos.